Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dead Gamers Talking Podcast. I am your host and only host. No, I'm kidding. One of your hosts, Fewer, at Fewer Afraid, as you can tell from my wonderful Twitter handle there. Uh, what is my delightful co-host Optimus doing these days? Optimus?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as he just stated, I am Optimus Deadpool. You can find me on Twitter at Optimus Deadpool, and on YouTube at also Optimus Deadpool. I'm going to repeat myself a lot tonight. Just been playing some vidya and having a good time. And On that note, speaking of good times, you can always go to my good friend Socks for a good time. So, Socks, tell us about what you've been doing.
Dude, not much. Apparently, I'm basically a good time written on a bathroom wall. Uh, but
That's how I found you.
exactly right. You found my YouTube channel or my Twitter handle on a bathroom wall somewhere at a truck stop.
Yep.
Exactly. It was very
Hello,
strange.
I'm Socks. You can find me on Twitter at Renaxis. You can find me on YouTube at Neat Life. Um, yeah, what have I been doing? Sleeping, drinking eggnog, enjoying the holidays. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way. Um, yeah, that's about it. Playing video. I've been playing some less popular games, I guess. Anyway, I'll hand this over to our other wonderful, lovely host, Remy.
Hello, everybody. I am Remi Punks on Twitter and Hitbox and the YouTubes and pretty much the whole entire internets. If you see somebody else using the handle at Remi Punks, please punch them in the face and tell them to get up off my name.
Well, if they had your name, that means they probably hacked your account, yeah?
I should hope. I mean, I have everything down to remipunks at hellokitty.com. So if somebody managed to snag my name before I got it, they're fast and sneaky. I also am.
Or
Or,
fewer. Hmm,
hmm.
I'm joking. I would never do that.
I would hope not. Also, it
I
says
am
that we are
fewer. I am
currently
always
playing
fewer.
100% orange juice, which is a lie, but I have to list a game because Hitbox. So just pretend that there are cute little lolly girls on your screen right now.
Yeah, that that sounds fun. Now, oh, what did I say? What have I been up to today? Do you guys, I know some of you, I'm not sure if all of you did. Did any of you mention the games you're playing these days?
Uh, Not yet. But you go ahead with yours, and we'll move on from there.
Fine, we'll just be awkward like that. Okay, no, I'm cool. I've been playing a little bit of the latest World of Warcraft expansion as of late, and previously I was playing a fair bit of that wonderful game known as Space Engineers, which everyone should play, including these three people, but they won't because they're jerks and they hate me apparently. Um, Everyone should get that game. It's a great game. It's gonna be fun. Yeah, that's pretty much been it so far for me this week. What have you been playing, Optimus?
uh, this week I've been playing a lot. I picked up Skullgirls on the Steam sale, and brings back the old school feel of the Marvel Capcom type games. I'm a fighting game fan, so I've been thoroughly enjoying that. And I played some WoW here and there with some of you plebs, and trying to level up new characters and trying to kind of get back into it a little bit. And I'm hoping starting tomorrow or Saturday, I'll starting to actually play some Shovel Knight. That's been on the back burner for a while, but I want to get to it now that I have a controller. Thank you, base Christmas gods, for sending me a controller for Christmas. And yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. Sucks. What you been playing this week?
This week, I'm also a WoW pleb, so on and off, kind of that. I just log in and do dailies, and then log in for raids, and that's it. I don't really play outside of raids and like doing my daily crafting shit. Anyway, what else have I been doing? Oh yeah, I've been playing some really interesting sort of indie games. Um, I Am Bread, made by the people who made Surgeon Simulator, which is one of my favorite games, by the way. Surgeon Simulator is so infuriating, but fun at the same time. But I Am Bread has that same kind of infuriating ridiculousness. and I'm obsessed with it. I will.
You're
I'm gonna
playing.
try
Sorry,
and put
you're
videos
playing a
up.
game where the objective is to go to get from wherever the hell you start to the toaster.
Yeah.
Really? That's.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, actually, you can toast yourself on different things. So it's really interesting. Like the first time I played, I toasted myself on the stove, and then I toasted myself on an electric heater, and then I toasted myself on. I think I electrocuted myself into toast at some point as well. It was pretty good. Um, it's really fun. It's deceptively fun.
Good.
And I've also been playing this War of Mine. Now this game has gotten a lot of like, oh my god, it's like the most deep and interesting and gritty game ever made kind of thing. But in reality, it's kind of like the gameplay itself is a lot like those zombie survival games where during the day you fortify your uh, your base, and then during the night you send someone out to scavenge. That's basically the gameplay. And but the story, yeah, it's gritty, but it's not like groundbreaking. It's a great game, mind you. It's wonderful, but it's not anything anybody who is familiar with the flash game scene is going to think is new. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, Remy, what have you been playing?
I am susceptible to suggestion and bad influence easily, so I have gotten back into WoW after having a year off from the game. Um, so I have been greatly enjoying much Blood Elf butt, and it makes me super happy. And as always, I play my Guild Wars too, because if I don't do my dailies, I feel like a bad human. And oh, and 100% orange juice. I've been playing 100% orange juice because I want to actually understand when I am playing my little lolly on the screen what on earth I am doing with myself. I still don't get it. I still don't understand, but it makes me happy. So that's all that really matters.
Did you still? So you've been playing it, but you still don't know what's going on.
Nope, not a clue. But that happens with most
Awesome.
games with me. Like I play them and I'm like, that was fun. I don't know what happened.
Oh.
Oh, speaking
Hmm?
of weird games, Remy actually gifted me Depth, that shark simulator game.
Yes, how is
She
it?
gave that to me for Christmas. I haven't played it yet. I haven't had like the chance to do it, but I've got it installed,
I cannot
and
wait to hear.
I will. Yes, I will make a video just for you.
Yay! And I will be soon into Skullgirls because I'll be completely honest, as a fighting game player, I'm super nervous to play fighting. I'm super, super sorry for my cat noises in the background, but I'm also super nervous about playing them on the computer and I have no idea why. I'm like, oh god, if Optimus is like super way better than me, I'm gonna feel so dumb. So I'm like having like nervouses about playing Skullgirls, but it's a great game, so I'm excited and I can't wait to
So
play it with you.
just give you a preview. It's all about that solo. Yeah, and yeah,
Okay.
the reason I say that, guys, is I have fallen in love with Big Band. I think he's a tremendous, even though he's supposedly low tier. I don't care. He's awesome. Yeah, so pretty much. And I really look for. I mean, hoping to get a night together, just get a few people together, and just play the hell out of it for a little while. Have fun.
Oh, I'll
Sucks
be
you have.
definitely into that. I love
Yeah, I was like, yeah,
Skullgirls.
yeah, you have it too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love Skullgirls because I'm a huge fan of Zone, and he did some of the. Well, they
Yeah, so we
did
will
some of
we
the
Yeah.
will
work.
maybe all have to into Skullgirls together. That will be much
We will all
fun.
into Skullgirls, definitely.
Mhm.
Woohoo! Fewer fighting games?
I
Yes, no?
I know do no fighting games. I'm
Aw,
sorry,
come
but I'm
on,
not
you
gonna
can
do.
do it. You want us to play weird, strange things in space, so you can into fighting. You can do it.
It's not weird, strange things in space, but
Says
okay.
you.
Says that 3 million plus copies sold, but okay.
Well, you were you trying to say that there are made we you okay 3 million copies sold? Do I need to bring up Street Fighter? Do I need to bring up Tekken? Do
No, that wasn't what. That was not my point, sir. That was not my point in the slightest.
uh,
um,
You're.
Adil has requested that Fewer please turn up your mic
I cannot do that because I have no idea how to do it. This mic does not have volume control.
do you have it on your console on the
on the
Windows?
computer. Yes, you can. You're on Skype. You can turn up the sensitivity for your microphone. I will teach you later when we are not on air.
Yeah, thanks for bringing this up now, Adil. God.
Stupid Adil. God damn
Adil,
it.
Adil, we talk to you. We talk to you on the regular. You you should know if he's too quiet or not.
Yeah. What the hell? Why he knows say nothing
Did,
till now.
Vera, did you get a chance to say what you are been
Yes,
playing?
so what
Yeah,
I
okay.
started off, remember?
I was making sure. It's it's a long night. Uh,
That's what she said. Um,
Ooh, this stream is going places.
Okay, how's that?
you are louder. You
Yes,
are
I am.
also a little bit staticky, but you are louder.
How's that? Better?
Better,
Yeah,
mucho better.
that's
Thank you
perfect.
muchly, sir.
I just turned off automatically adjust microphone settings.
That's pretty much what you got to do with Skype.
Yeah,
Stupid
Skype's
Skype.
crap, so don't worry about it.
When I used to do podcasts on my own, that I had that problem. I didn't know that you could automatically turn it off at the time because the option was hidden, and I had to like hold the button. I had to hold the automatic thing to to full so I could be heard. That's how ridiculous it was.
And again, to folks watching live, we are not in fact playing 100% orange juice. I apologize. I have to have a game listed, and that was just the last thing that I played. That does not mean that we will not play something like that in the future, but tonight you are just listening to our lovely voices.
Hmm.
I will do my best to serenade the audience with wonderful, wonderful words of wisdom and delight and joy and fun and
And then they
sex.
get to
What?
know you, and they're like, "Well, that was a lie." Uh,
I will have you know I am a very magical, whimsical, wonderful person.
okay.
It's just,
Uh,
all right, whatever.
then,
I accept this.
I've known you for over what 3 months now, and yeah,
Mhm.
that hasn't manifested yet. Anyway, uh,
Alright,
oh,
so
this
we're
is great.
ready to move on?
Yes, let's talk about
Alright,
stuff, things.
we
Stuff
are
and
going to get into
things.
the nitty-gritty, meaty, deep and serious parts of the show, the parts where we discuss the meaning of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, all those fun things. No, I'm bullshitting y'all. We're gonna talk about video games and the like. And what exactly the goal of Gamergate is. As you know, we are all part of a particularly effective consumer revolt against a rather corrupt form of media. Um, and we thought it would be a good idea to sit down and have a nice little chat about how to resolve our current predicament and what sort of media we're looking for and what our ideas and thoughts on media large is. So, Optimus, how about you start us off there?
Well, my thing is, and it's been brought up in many different places that we're in a situation where a lot has happened and a lot of good things has happened. Um, you kind of get where I'm going with it. We've done a lot. We've cut off ad revenue for Gawker. We've done tremendous things. We made the escapists adopt the ethics policy. Give a round of applause to the escapists. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat and say what Kotaku did was an ethics policy. That was a BS move, in my opinion. To say, hey, ethics, and then then immediately change it so they can still keep doing what they're doing. Um, but my point is that we don't want to get to a point where we're at critical mass and the people who are these corrupt games journalists, and I'm using that word very loosely, uh, will just basically filter around and go other places, and they don't lose any of their influence at all. We have yet to get to where people say, the majority of people are saying, "Hey, I'm not going to Kotaku because I know that they're full of crap. I'm not going to Polygon because I know they're full of crap." Well, I will say they've done that with Gama Sutra because that was apparent. Uh, but but yeah, the point is we got to get to a point where the best way to take care of the old gaming journalism media narrative is to create a new standard. Yeah. And to do that, you're going to have new outlets. And I'm not saying that there are not some good ones we already have. I think we were talking before the chat. We mentioned Tech Raptor and Niche Gamer, which Niche Gamer is they're very centered on what they do, but they've become. I think that I applaud them for their handling of this scandal. That they've actually done reports and they've done interviews. I'm imagining I can't think of his name at the moment, but the guy who runs Niche Gamer, I'm really don't think he thought he would be interviewing David Jaffe.
Brendan, yeah.
you know, a month ago. So I'm sure that like all of a sudden, this is kind of like hit him like holy crap, people are listening, people want to hear, and that's the point. We got to push these things. That's what I'm trying to get at. Keep we can't do what we're doing and quote unquote destroy without creating. Yeah, we need new ideas, we need creation. That's just how it has to happen you know what do y'all
Yep.
so anybody else have some thoughts on that, because that's pretty much my feelings on it.
Well, and I think that we also need to. I obviously I am very focused on print media and that sort of thing, be it printed on paper, printed online. But there's also the whole wealth of information available via YouTube. I've been a huge fan of what Oliver Campbell is doing with, instead of just blanket printing out reviews, what he's doing is he's actually playing the games through on streams, recording them so that way he can cite his own gameplay in his reviews. Which I think is great because there's no way for somebody to go, oh, that's biased, because he can actually say, no, look here. This is when I played this. This is what happened. You're watching my first real organic experience with the game. Um, and I think that's great. And obviously, one run through of a game isn't necessarily the entire be all end all truth of it, but it's much more so than touching something for 5 minutes and then putting out an article because the four other articles before the one you wrote said the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're looking at different avenues of putting out information. And then there's the problem of getting kind of people to take that seriously. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
there's such a focus on this institution of the printed media. No, that's no disrespect. I was a print media person. Um, but I think we need to embrace more of the YouTube and stream kind of culture, not culture, I guess. Make that part of what we're trying to build. Uh,
Yes.
integrate it more into how we consume information and how we absorb information about video games and the issues surrounding gaming, uh,
Yeah.
which I think we're slowly doing. I mean, look at Total Biscuit. He's a great example of a video game critic and a commentator who has such a huge reach, and you may not agree with him or enjoy his content, but he does what he does and people seem to like it. More of that would be excellent.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that he is a great example of how um has a bit he does a review that's not a review, if that makes any sense. It's
Yeah,
a yeah.
he's a very much a consumer rights advocate
Mm-hmm.
in that he doesn't want you to buy garbage.
Right.
And he will lay it all out for you, I think. That's and say give his opinion, and he makes it clear that that's his opinion. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
What was it? What was that game called? That Gary's game. That one on the
Uh,
island, not Gary's mod.
Gary's incident.
Yeah, the Gary
Yeah.
incident. Gary's
Yeah.
incident. Yeah, when that whole drama happened and he got DMCA'd and all kinds of other shit happened with the developer.
Yeah. Where that
But
developer
that
said that they
that
were
game
gonna.
was
Yeah.
yeah, that
But they
game
said
was a
we're
total
gonna take
clusterfuck.
down that little YouTuber.
Yeah, that little YouTuber who's one of the biggest in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's that kind of pushback. People don't like it when you say bad things about the stuff they make. But if you can't take criticism, maybe you shouldn't be creating things for the public, I guess.
Or
And
better yet, bake better stuff. That's an idea.
Yeah.
well, and criticism is such an important thing that has been lacking in the quote unquote journalistic side of the gaming industry because it is, and I hate the term hug box, but these people really are all friends and they all very much socialize with one another versus not now, but in the past, more mainstream media, it was extremely cutthroat. You didn't want to email somebody and say, hey, I'm writing a story on this, because they were going to write it better than you and do it before you did. Um, Whereas now, and I don't know so much with the YouTube side of things, but with a lot of these journos, they were like, hey, I've got this game. Do you have it? Oh, cool. I'm going to pass it to you. Oh, what day are you putting your story up? Oh, I'm putting mine up this day. Like, what? Like, how does that even work?
Yeah.
That lack of competitive nature in there. Whereas for me, if I'm writing something, I'm super tight-lipped on it. I don't want somebody else to put it out before I do, because I want people to read what I wrote or see what I'm creating and the content that I'm making and go, oh my gosh, not, oh, well, that person who wrote it 2 days ago did it better.
Hmm. Well, it
Yes.
kind of gets back to the whole, scandal of Gamergate. That the reason why they don't want to talk about their involvement in it is because they're complicit in it.
Yes.
Well,
You know
yeah, that's
that. that
that's the thing. That's
hmm
that's they're either calling themselves out or calling their friends out when they talk about it. And they can't talk about it. They won't address it because it would make it seem like they're doing something wrong or their BFFs are doing something wrong.
hmm
And they don't want to admit to that. Nobody likes admitting they're doing something wrong.
Yep.
Hmm.
And our good friend Goldbat nailed it in the chat. A good media site would have staff with many conflicting opinions, not all agreeing and jerking each other off.
Yeah, basically. I
Hmm.
mean, that's the thing that they kind of try and symbolically do, and they do it for ratings on
Hmm.
like cable news networks. You
Hmm.
know, they'll have like the token Republican or the token Democrat or the token woman
Who
or the
in
token
reality is
person of
neither
ethnicity.
not who
Yeah,
in reality is not really what that token claims to be.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Bob
You know,
Bob Beckles, the token liberal on Fox and Friends.
right. And then you've got like, yeah,
Please.
do you know what I mean? And then you got like
Yeah,
Joe
exactly.
on like Monty Joe's like the token Republican,
The token,
conservative,
yeah, the
whatever.
token Republican.
But it's yeah, well, they're all just corporate shills doing it for a paycheck. They ain't nothing.
Yes.
Um, but that's what needs to happen. Like you need somebody who is all about like act. Look, someone who's actually educated in like social and women's issues and stuff like that, and actually has experience in the real world, and also enjoys video games or whatever. Fine, go ahead, criticize whatever the hell you want. That's great. You have some sort of standing to do so. But then you've got somebody who has been heavily involved in geek culture online for the last, decade, 15 years, whatever. All right. You great, talk about those issues and then like come together and talk about them. But don't all use that one homogenous, well, everyone's a misogynist, or if you do the XYZ, then you're, you know,
Hmm.
the
Yes.
other thing. And it's just ridiculous. And that's what's happened. And they've all fallen into that trap. And it's frustrating because you're getting this one homogenous voice. You're not getting a dissenting opinion because nobody wants to be unpopular.
Well, and how do we keep from that happening again? I think obviously consumers having a voice and saying, hey, we want diverse and dissenting voices, but above and beyond that, I mean, because obviously those of us tweeting in the hashtag and people who are contributing to new media and new outlets, a lot of us do get along and we do share ideas. So, how do we keep from sort of falling into the same traps of previous people
Um,
in the community?
well, okay, let me use us for an example. Let's talk about our personal politics just for a second. I don't like bringing it up because it's relatively irrelevant, but we're talking about it now. What are our political people's political, ideological, and their own personal agendas? I am me personally. We'll use this as an example. I am a raging leftist. I thought I was as left as anyone could get until I met the authoritarian side of the left, which was, uh, a bit terrifying.
Hmm. Indeed.
Yeah. So I'm all about like gay marriage, equal rights, blah blah blah, all of that stuff. Uh, Optimus.
Hmm.
I'm a raging atheist as well.
Hmm.
What about you,
Well,
my friend?
well then I am a conservative
He's the
libertarian.
polar
Yeah,
opposite.
I am a conservative libertarian Christian. So, but it's funny you mentioned it, but because I am also for equal rights and gay marriage, I'm also against the term marriage by the state. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I've talked to Fuhrer about this before many times. I don't believe that what a marriage is defined should be defined by the state. If you want to give out license of cohabitation or what was the term I used? What used to be used? Civil union of some kind. That's fine.
Hmm.
Okay, that's great. By the state term, that's great. I don't think the state should get involved in what they define as marriage. I think
Hmm.
that if you want to, whoever you want to marry, um, or cohabitate with, or civil union with, that's not my concern. You know, that's
Right.
just
So
me.
we have different political and ideological issues, but you and I are able to come together, speak civilly and friendly
Yeah.
on a range of different topics
Hmm.
involving video games and the world surrounding it that we're passionate about.
Yeah, and also to the fact that we can, find more common ground usually when you talk civilly instead of screaming at the wall. You know,
Right.
Yes.
that's kind of the conflict that we've run into. We've got wall screamers, and then we've got people who want to talk, rationally, but can't.
I think I think we've avoided I think what we managed to do is avoid the political tribalism that comes with a lot of modern day political and well, not even political, it's debate about anything now.
Hmm.
And it's like if you're right or left, you have to hate each other for some fucked up reason.
Right.
And it's a reason I don't understand. Because, like you said, you and I, we're totally different in some respects, but we can find common ground.
Hmm.
And I don't think you're evil for having different opinions, and you don't think I'm evil for having different opinions. You think I'm evil because I'm evil. Um,
Yes, exactly.
so exactly. But I
No
think
matter what,
that's
never leave socks alone in the closet with your cat. It does not end well.
I love kittens. I wouldn't do
It'll just it'll just be gone. Um, are we gonna just we just gonna go in circles here about our sorry by circle I mean are we just gonna
Yeah.
all list off our political views?
Yeah.
Oh
Go ahead.
God, I
Yes,
probably
absolutely.
shouldn't.
Go, Remy. Go.
Oh,
Political
No,
views.
look, honestly, if you don't want to share it,
well,
we
no, it's
you
that
don't
I've
have
had
to.
people tell me to not bring it up, and that's the thing. I am a registered socialist, and
He's kidding. He's kidding.
How did
He's
I
kidding.
become friends with you?
but at
Like,
the same, I am a registered socialist. As I was talking earlier with Optimus about this, I am also a kind of atheist Catholic having an existential crisis with my religion at the moment. Not faith, but religion. Um, and I have some very conservative views in certain. I have socially liberal, obviously fiscally not liberal views. Well, but in American politics, I guess they are considered liberal. But anyway, super socialist. I think that everybody, if I have a sandwich and you don't have a sandwich, you get half my sandwich. Um, because that just makes sense. And I know that it won't work. I'm well aware that humans are too flawed for my political beliefs. But that's just where I stand. But then there's things like I'm pro death penalty and I'm anti other things and I am pro other things. I think that in general people should be able to do what they want to do and the government telling you, hey, don't do this with your body. Hey, don't do this with your lungs or your liver or anything else. I think that's very silly and fairly destructive. Um, but yeah, I mean, I politically fall much closer with the people that are quote unquote on the opposite side of Gamergate. There's people who I've been to protest with and stood side by side with and held up signs who now hate me and won't speak to me because I'm pro exposing the Gamergate scandal. So it's been really surreal. And then I meet people like Optimus, and there's even for much more conservative people that I've had the joy of meeting via this, whose stances are super different than myself. I mean, I never thought I'd have a civil conversation with a libertarian. Like, what is that? That doesn't exist in my world. Um, so the fact that that now occurs it's wonderful and it's eye opening, and I really greatly appreciate it. But I'm somebody who likes discussion. I earlier was bemoaning the fact that there are people that are journalists journalists who use the title and claim it and own it, and who have now blocked me on Twitter and do not respond to emails any longer. And it's like, you're supposed to be a journalist. You're supposed to be the somebody who listens, supposed to be the somebody. I English real good sometimes. Um, they're supposed to be the people that listen to everybody and report on everything. And the fact that they've just thrown up this huge wall between them and voices that don't agree with theirs, it just baffles me. I want to talk to the folks that are as opposite of my views as possible. I also apologize if the sound from my Google chat is coming through. If
Oh,
anybody can hear the
oh dear.
blings, I apologize super
Remy.
big. Hello? Oh,
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I was going to say I apologize because my I don't know how to shut down my Google Chat and it's blowing up. So if anybody can hear those blings, I'm trying to stop them and I'm super
We'll
sorry
take care
about
of it.
that. Okay, good. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I have very I want to talk to people who don't agree with me. And if you tell me, "Hey, you don't agree with me," I think that's great. Let's talk it out. Let's have that conversation. And that's something that the anti quote unquote scandal people um, lack, that they don't have, and
That,
why their media is so warped.
well, their big thing is they just want to ignore that their complicity in it and even happened. You know,
Okay.
that's a, they think what they did was fine, and it's not. There is. Hold on. Make sure. Yeah. Pull up the chat. This is what you've been waiting for, Goldbat. Uh, when you have somebody like Ben Kuchera telling people what they're going to do on their site, that is horrendous. That is
Yes.
absolutely abhorrent. Nobody from a competing website should tell somebody on their website what they're going to do.
Yes.
That is
Well, the
bullying behavior,
hubris in that
and it's
man is
ridiculous.
the hubris in Ben Kuchera just completely baffles me. Like, I don't understand. Like, how does that even occur?
Ego.
Like, but
Enormous ego.
where does that come from? Where did it get to the point that he? I always feel like there gets to be like a point with nobody is born with an ego like that. Something grew it, and we need to. I feel like going forward, make sure that those that sort of push themselves up to the top of our media outlets don't contain that element, because he just makes me want to
It needs
punch my
some.
screen.
Yes, people need to. When you're any, and that's a lot of the problem with some public figures is they get to the point where they think they're bigger than what they represent. I mean,
Yes.
we very clearly we know Leigh Alexander said, "I am game journalism." Uh, you know, can you toot your own horn any more than that?
Oh,
I mean,
gatekeepers.
yeah,
I cannot handle or stomach gatekeepers in the least. And this is something that I also wonder how we're going to protect against, but I think that we could do. Um, is that with people like her and Brianna Wu and a lot of these other, and it's mostly women. I haven't seen. Well, no, I take that back. There's one, and I'm friends with him, so I'm not going to say his name. But um, there are people who consider themselves to be gatekeepers for the gaming industry, which is completely ridiculous because it should be and is an incredibly diverse industry. And one voice
well,
stepping up and saying, "Oh, I know every woman in the gaming industry," is
ridiculous.
yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another word for it. But see, that's the thing. My term for gatekeeper, which was originally was when the press protected the public from X.
Yep.
That's what gatekeeping to me was supposed to be. That like
By providing the truth.
if the government was being a shit, the journalism was like, no, 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 what you're doing is wrong, and here's why. And then it gets exposed, and then the people are like, no, f that, and they vote that person out of office,
Yes.
right? So like when Jack Thompson was attacking the industry, I thought that game journalism did a great thing protecting gaming and protecting the gamers, you know.
But they're now the Jack Thompsons.
But now they're Jack Thompson. They don't even see it. They could look in the mirror and they would see a white-headed old man, and they don't even realize it. So yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And talking about somebody like Kuchera, I don't understand the, like you said, I don't know where the self-importance came from. And he that is like I don't usually I'm not going to get I made a promise to myself that I will not do politics of personal destruction. I don't know, he might be a good guy off in the side or whatever, but when you're actively on Twitter trying to get a kid fired from his job because you didn't agree with what he said to you on the internet, you are a sad human being.
Mhm.
Well, and to be
Yeah.
clear, because we have done that, it's very different. Somebody who works at Dick's Sporting Goods expressing an opinion about gaming, if he was coming on the internet and attacking people who buy Nikes at Dick's, yes, absolutely hold the company accountable. Say, hey, this person represents you, and he's saying that I am a horrible person because I buy sneakers. But this was somebody commenting completely outside of his industry. Whereas when Lee Alexander or any of these, she's just my personal beef. I can't stand her. It's whatever. Um, with her or other people who do similar things, we need to hold them accountable because they're commenting on their industry and they're in an industry that who they are and their personal brands are their platforms. So her coming onto Twitter and saying blah 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 about gamers or saying blah 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 about men or anything else, that's something, yes, she should be held culpable for. But a guy talking about something that has nothing to do with what his job is, and, Kuchera having a Twitter fit over it, very different thing. Very, very
Yes.
different.
Yes. Okay, so I guess that just
Also,
leaves
anybody
me.
who's worried about socks, she is having internet issues. She's going to be back with us as soon as she possibly can.
Yep. So I guess that just leaves me to explain my personal politics slash my stance on media. I am in international politics. I am what is known as a centrist. I believe there's value in right and left and in coming together and forging a better path because I don't like the left-right dichotomy at all. It annoys the crap out of me. It is useless, and most people fall between those anyway. So internationally I am known as a centrist. In American political terms, I am absolutely a progressive. I am these very people who are now attacking us, except I'm not an idiot. These people are idiots. They have no concept of reality. They have no concept of the broader scope of things, and they have no self-awareness above all else. There is, especially in America, within the American progressive circles, the beginnings of a progressive civil war, where the authoritarian left and the libertarian left are about to come to head. There have already been several cases where this has happened, and it gets more and more ridiculous every goddamn time. So this is coming, and this is why I am absolutely pro Gamergate and why I'm not ashamed to admit it. Because as far as I'm concerned, media corruption and manipulating the system is everything a progressive should fight for. That's why we target uh, people like the Koch brothers and other scum like that. It's why we target any sort of figure who has a system and abuses it and cheats to get their way. And it doesn't matter your political views, you are not exempt. You should be held accountable if you are fucking up like that. And that's why I'm happy with the Programmergate. And now we come to the media part of it.
I'm
Um,
back. Sorry.
Hello,
welcome back,
socks.
Socks. I am entirely of the opinion that we need a new media. Uh, we need one that balances out the value of investigative journalism and quality that the old media used to have, and while avoiding the corruption element that it has, like new media has, but simultaneously avoiding the problems of clickbait, which has infested new media, and it makes me sick to my stomach. It's why I don't never went to Gawker. It's why I never really went to games journalism websites. It's why there are very few actual websites I actually trust for news. Clickbait is a horrendous thing, and it is the problem of a system where you get paid per articles that you produce rather than good articles that you write. Um, this is the reality of of the new media of the fifth estate, and the fourth estate is you get paid in bribes and positions and comfy and sorry ins and connections if you suck up to power. Neither of those are acceptable to me. We have to find a way to incentivize investigative journalism and truth because it's dying.
Mm.
And I'm not the only one who sees this. Gamergate isn't the only one who's seen this. There's actually been a fairly, yes, Goldbat said it right. Yellow journalism mixed with slacktivism. Um, before this Gamergate thing, there were a lot of progressives who saw it. There still are. They're just a little quiet of it, not necessarily involved in Gamergate. Um, and it's incredibly frustrating. Uh, this kind of corruption can't stand. The truth cannot be the first casualty. We cannot let that happen. There has to be something that we can do. There has to be a new system we can implement and incentivize. Because right now, people are going, ethics be damned, I'm doing what gets me paid. And we need to find one that does both. There has to be a way of doing it. That's my position. And I think that's what Gamergate is starting to teach a lot of people, is that truth has to come back and quality in work has to come back. Real
Mm.
journalism has to return, and that's what's really lacking. And a lot of the journalism students I talk to, including one of my best friends, agrees that it's journalism's a mess at the moment and it needs fixing.
It does. I mean, with the newspapers dying out and becoming basically uh, printed versions of the native advertising scandal that you saw with the Goka Network, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's been going on in newspapers and in current affairs programs for years. It's a huge problem here in Australia, and I've been railing against it for the better part of this decade. Um, we need to find a way where advertising itself is not the primary incentive. You know, it would eliminate a lot of the clickbait push. You know what I mean? Because the someone from the chat was right. Clickbait is you're paid based on views and shares. So the more sensational and ridiculous your headline and the content or the first paragraph of your article is, the more you're going
Right.
to get paid because of the advertising revenue you're generating.
To
Right. And
shill
it's
Alex Mack.
especially sorry. Go ahead.
Alice Macker's TED Talk, well, TEDx talk, was actually about clickbait and our lack of want for substantial content. And we need to fight back against that urge of this seems ridiculous and scandalous. I must click it. The Inquirer used to be a joke, and now at my store we stock it right next to the other, People in Time. We've gotten to that point in a culture that our media consumption has leveled out tabloid and actual press. And we
That
have to
is
fight back against
terrifying.
that. It is, and I mean, and the thing is if you crack open the Inquirer, their level of writing has actually improved, because there has been this leveling out. We want fast food of media. We want things that are easy to consume and give us empty calories that don't give us any real content. And
Right.
the only way we're going to change that is to say, you know what, I'm not clicking on that. No matter how tantalizing and delicious it looks, we want things that actually nourish us.
Just to address something chat brought up, what can journalism do about the monetary issue? Because let's face it, advertising is what basically it propels the economy in almost every sector. It's ridiculous how much uh, the press, television, film, everything is just hinged on advertising. That's where people get their money from, all of these corporations saying, hey, promote Coke, promote whatever. That's where all the money comes from. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Um, I think now people are probably going to fucking punch me in the face for this, but I don't give a shit. Um,
Different
readers
continent.
have to, yeah,
We can't get to you.
readers have to fucking pay for what they want. Okay? Um, yes, information. I am so torn about this because it's ridiculous. But maybe it should be optional. I don't think it should be like you have to pay to see the content. But it would be nice to have an optional subscription system. But you don't really get anything for it other than the knowledge that your contribution is providing valuable
But
journalism, valuable content. But it's optional.
Well,
Um,
and how do you deal with something like Slate? There are writers on Slate who I absolutely support, adore, and fangirl constantly. There are
Hmm.
writers on Slate who have banned me from every other sites that she works for. So
right.
how do you monetize per article or do you monetize per writer?
Um,
Obviously, I want to support the person who wants discussion and wants open communication. Same thing with the escapist. There's people there who I personally support and others who well, less so now, but who I absolutely don't support. And Slate I considered subscribing to, and then I thought, wait a second, I don't want them to consider this a support of this particular writer
Of
who is,
XYZ. Yeah.
well,
yeah.
well, for one
Well,
thing,
then maybe it.
I was going to
Sorry.
say, for one thing, for media sites, maybe not let journalists like moderate their own articles.
That's a novel concept. I've asked Slate
Yeah.
repeatedly about that, but I mean, and it's sites that I've been on for quite a long time. I can no longer post on the Guardian. I'm just gonna flat out say it. I actually received paper copies of the Guardian to my home and ended my subscription because they allowed a feminist to moderate her own article, and now I am flagged from commenting on their site altogether, on the U.S. and on the UK one. Um,
Wow.
and after repeated emails sending them screenshots of the conversation, she removed her comments where she called me a stupid bitch and told me to get off of the fucking internet. This is her on a site that she works for. The Guardian has not responded, so I ended a, gosh, I'm 35, so 20-year subscription to their newspaper because of this writer's behavior. And there's lots of writers there I enjoy. So it's very hard, like, when you're monetizing things like that, where that line is of I
Well,
support these journos, but not that
Well,
one.
Well, I would say, just my personal opinion, somebody who runs his own business and kind of knows how business works. How about like, for whatever money you add to, money you get from advertising, put it in the bank and pay these fuckers some salary instead of paying them whatever they did for how many clicks they got. How about base it on what the site does and not what your individual article does? Because that would, my opinion, would, I don't know about the clickbait because it would still be a prevalent thing because they would still be trying to get the thing, but it would keep these, keep these journalists, because they know they couldn't line their pockets with it because no matter what, they know they're getting paid the same amount, you know?
Yes.
yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I
I
might
mean,
be off base on that, but hey, I'm just, if you're going to work for somebody, get a salary. That's just the way it's
yeah.
always been
But
for me.
that's
That's
not
that's actually that's actually what I was gonna say was how I really would like to see this fixed by basically new media becoming a form of old media and having things like salaries again rather than being paid a quarter per thousand views and clicks
right.
on an article.
well,
That's
or
insanity.
make it
But
actually
you
based
can't
on
do that anymore.
content. No,
Yes.
less so than salary, because salary leads to a level of comfort and a lack of production when it comes to writing. This is just my personal opinion. Above, like, don't anybody think this is what I'm saying should be good for the industry. But and it's really weird because I'm a commie, but I'm saying this. But when there are salaries in place, it oftentimes leads to complacency in writing and a lack of urgency. The same thing happens with authors after you get your advance. That
Advance. Yeah.
urgency to write sort of dissipates. I've suffered from this. A lot of writers have suffered from this. And by actually having pay per word content, I think is important. Also having proper researchers behind it too. Those departments are gone. It used to be when you wrote a piece and you submitted
Yes.
it, you had it reviewed for just factual basis, and
Yes.
that no longer exists. Editors need to be more than just a figurehead and need to be more than just a title.
Yeah.
And
A
these are
copy
the
editor needs to actually read and edit the fucking copy.
right, and not just post it up and say, "Oh, there's some spelling errors. We can edit that later." Mistagged actors, like, that drives me crazy when they'll be talking about Ryan Reynolds and they say Ryan someone else. It's like, I know the difference, and I don't even like mainstream movies. Like, it's things like this that now slip through the journalism cracks. So it's more than just the journalist. I think journalist having a paid by word, it gives a sense of urgency and it makes you try for your job. And they're not going to print your piece if the information's bad. So these background figures are just as important as the person whose name is on the byline.
Yes.
Agreed.
And
With the
that is
byline.
It
that's
kind of goes.
been
It reminds me of talking about your moderation issue, Remy. I remember Luke Plunkett wrote a article after the Gamers Are Dead article, kind of like a follow up article to that, like a week later. Um, he said, he wrote the article, and he made the first comment and he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to moderate the shit out of this." Basically saying I don't want any dissenting opinion to what I just said. I was like, well, I didn't respect you anyway, Luke Plunkett, because I thought you were a shit years ago. But, um, but
And
that just made it look even worse.
when did we decide that was appropriate behavior? I don't know when this shift happened where sites would also super sorry for my malware bites sound that just happened. But speaking of
Couldn't hear it.
bites, I had Radical Bites actually kick me out of a stream that I was commenting on because I didn't have a dissenting opinion, but I also wasn't kissing la butt. I don't understand when moderation by the person creating the content became a good idea. On forums, you would never let the original poster moderate their thread. I mean, that was just
Oh God, no.
insanity. And now news sources think this is okay. I just, I don't understand it. It completely
Well,
baffles
yeah.
me.
It's like a lot of these writers are treating their articles like their personal blogs. Like if you said something that hurt their feelings, or it was your criticism was too harsh, but actual constructive criticism, not like trolling. I get, deleting trolling, but if you left actual constructive criticism with a dissenting opinion that hurt their feelings or was terrible, and you were obviously a mean bully, and they get to edit and remove that. This isn't your personal blog. This is a publication.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
And
don't
it
get to you
shouldn't be
don't
up
get
to
to
the
do
writer
that.
to decide what's hurtful to feelings because we do get a certain level of attachment to our writing. I mean, I think
Oh,
everyone feels
absolutely.
that.
I mean, I'm a writer, Jesus, and was um, so when people are critical of my work, yeah, I get a little defensive, but that's a natural reaction to something you've created. You have to learn to detach a little bit, and once you put it out there, it's still yours, but you've put it out there publicly. People can say whatever the fuck they want about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to accept that.
Yes. I used to spend every day I was at work during my shift, just in the comment sections of CNN articles, very particular articles too, Middle East, especially Israel Palestine articles. I don't know why. I really don't know why I gravitated to those ones, but I did. And the thought of the author of the article moderating those chats is insanity. First off, the chats were Discuss hosted, so I don't think they could. But secondly, that's still such a crazy concept. No, it was CNN moderators who would moderate that and delete FB, and they left pretty much everything unless it was the most heinous and like hateful thing ever. Then they would be like, "No, you get out. That's not okay. This is it." Um, so despite CNN's flaws as an actual cable news company, terrible, 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 terrible company. They at least know how to fucking run their online articles. So that's amazing. Is that no one seems to have learned from those. There's a reason the comment sections blow up on these articles and why people actually read CNN articles rather than pay attention to the the actual live show, because no one gives a shit about the live show. They recognize it's full of shit. Um, the articles are actually can be interesting, and when they actually allow comments and not things that are just like uh, gas Jews and stuff, which is some of the comments I've seen, then it's great. This is what is amazes me is all these companies, all the tools they needed to fix it were right there, all of them. There've been precedents set in various other online media outlets that have worked well, but none of them took it. And what that strikes to me is an enormous degree of arrogance, just utter arrogance at themselves and contempt for everyone else. That's what amazes me, and why this needs, why these a lot of these people I think need to find a different line of work. Because if you're going to be this arrogant about your article to the point where you're going to moderate it yourself and delete things that you don't agree with, you have a serious ego problem. You have either a very fragile individual or one who is not cut out for this job. Probably both. And you need to find a different line of work where you don't have to publicize crap and face criticism. Because guess what? that's what being a media personality means. Like, you are putting yourself and your work out there for people to read. That's the point. You don't get to shut out the voices you don't like. Deal with it, grow up, move on.
Yeah,
The
people
fact that
need
I the
to.
fact that I could be more mature than some of these journalists like Ben fucking Kuchera, who's older than me and has a family. The fact that I can carry on a more respectable and intellectually stimulating conversation than him baffles me as a human being. I never thought I'd be baffled by that before.
But and do we even know? I mean, that's the thing that's so frustrating with a lot of this is I feel like a lot of these journalists might be possible of actually holding proper discourse. I mean, Amanda Marcotte, she's the one who banned me from the universe, is in person a very engaging speaker and could have discourse and discussion. She's just gotten to the point where she refuses to. And I don't know where that tipping point happens, and I don't know enough about Kuchera's history or a lot of these other people's history to say it. But even Lee Alexander, I have had people tell me that prior to her becoming the creature that she now is, was a really sweet, engaging person who was a little bit shy and
And
Lee
there
used
are
to be
still
cool.
remnants, there are still semblance, bits and pieces of that surface every now and then. We
Yeah,
have mutual friends who were able to shitpost with her, and it was fine. And we have moments where she recognizes, wow, Gamergate wished me a happy birthday, and wow, thank you. Like, there are moments where there's a human being there again,
and it's
and then
hard
it
to
just
tell though when she's being sarcastic. I guess that's the thing is I've gotten to the point where I don't even trust anything to be genuine.
I she does not carry sarcasm well. I've seen some of her tweets where she's being sarcastic. She doesn't carry it well.
Ah, good to know.
Um,
Yeah, her sarcasm is like obvious sarcasm. You can't.
it's
Yeah.
very obvious,
Okay.
yes.
I
And
also
and the reason, hold on, there's a good reason for that. There's a reason for that because obvious sarcasm adds insults to injury. She's mastered the art of basically being faux caring to the point where even idiots understand that she doesn't really care about what you have to say. So no, you can tell when she's being sarcastic because she's mastered the point of being obvious as a form of insult.
and that's just disheartening to me because I think I would have liked to have met her prior to her becoming what she is now. And I look at journalists that are coming up and starting to have a voice in things and I fear like I'm like when do I know to watch out for that tipping point? Like where does that happen? And how do I keep writers that I care about from tipping in that direction? I mean, and I guess this is kind of a good time. Should we talk about new media platforms that are coming up and that we enjoy?
yeah.
You
Yes.
guys can talk about the YouTubes. I love Niche Gamer. I am a big perv, so a lot of the
Yeah,
stuff
so
that
am
they
I.
review, I'm like, ooh, shiny. Um,
I know, right? We're
I'm
like the biggest Arrow Gay fans ever.
Yeah, and it's like I know that like I don't interlude or any of that stuff on Twitter and things, but privately and in my own time, a lot of the stuff that they write about and the fact that and the thing that I respect with them is that they're trying to make it so that they can review things that other sites would not touch and do it in a way that is safe for people who consume their site that aren't necessarily interested in that. As a parent, I super appreciate that they're touching on games that you just don't see reviewed, and are doing it in a classy way, in a way that's I think well moderated for more midline viewers.
They're not, put it this way, they're not writing headlines going, "Oh my God, you can do this kinky sex pose in this game."
Oh no, they're doing the tentacle
No.
twitched this way reviews.
No,
Um,
no, 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 no. You misunderstand. I get that they're doing
oh, okay.
reviews, but they're not doing the sensationalist articles like, "Oh my God, this is in this video. This is in a video game. Look at this," and then like pictures and describing how you can
Well,
do it and
and
stuff
this
like
is the
that.
thing is they'll accidentally tweet things and they'll go, "Oh my God, the preview picture. We're so sorry," and take it down. So it's like
Yeah.
they're learning as they're going along, and it's a wonderful process to watch, and I really enjoy it. A lot of people are really enjoying Tech Raptor. I don't read them quite as often because again, the type of games that I consume niche more covers what I'm interested in. But Tech Raptor has been great. Um, what else? I mean, you guys, I'm sure have examples as well.
Um,
Um, of websites, I kind of like APG Nation. They're pretty good. I read a bit of goodgamers.us. I haven't been back, unfortunately. I don't read much
Their
Game
layout,
Snosh.
I
And
give them,
there's,
I give them their
huh?
layout's looking really nice. For good gamers, their layout is looking very nice lately, and they're
Good,
trying to,
good.
they're trying to shape it up. I'll give them credit for trying to get it on track. So go ahead.
One person brought up Apathy brought up base gamer. We actually wanted to talk about, guys. I can't say the word, the A word.
Ag- Aggregators.
Aggregate.
Thank you. I have a problem with vowels. Um, um, I love her, and I don't like the pushback that she's received for her site. But again, criticism should happen, not attacks against the person or the individual trying to create content, but against um, concepts and things like that.
The
Not
methodology, the concept itself,
Yeah,
and
personal
yeah.
attacks are never the way to go about it, but there are ways that base gamer could have been done that would possibly be better. Um, and I don't think, she is a sweetheart, and I absolutely adore her, and I will support any type of creation that she wants to do. I won't necessarily agree that the A word is the best way to go about reviewing games, or any content for that matter, because it just doesn't always make sense, and it always is the possibility of it being warped by the industry. The fact that people base bonuses off of Metacritic, still, I'm just like, what? um I don't understand that concept. So yeah, I love her. I love the fact that she wanted to create new contact, but or new content, but is based gamer the best way to go about doing it?
That remains to be seen, honestly. Um,
And we may not see it. I mean, and for a ton of different reasons, and it's unfortunate. Hopefully it'll be reworked and represented and will become a real thing.
yeah, I mean, like, I've had, I haven't said much on the base gamer issue because it's so divisive at the moment. Um, and because I say things very bluntly, so people get mad.
But guess what? This is your platform. Be blunt. People
I
can
know,
make
I know,
nasty
I
YouTube
know, I
comments at
know.
us. I'm looking forward to our first nasty YouTube comments. So
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
bring it.
um, well, here's the thing. I hate Metacritic. I hate it so much I want to punch in the goddamn face. Because of the algorithm that they use for game reviews, and because they don't list the author of the review like they do with the movies, right? I fucking hate Metacritic. I hate how the industry has adopted Metacritic as some sort of standard for bonuses for the developers, like publishers. The biggest example that is bandied about is what Bethesda did to Obsidian with Fallout. Uh, so I'm skeptical of aggregates. Does that make
That's
sense? I
yeah.
don't.
hmm
I'm not entirely a fan of aggregate sites.
that's kind of
I
where
think
I'm
it's
lying. Yeah.
great that they want to create like a replacement for Metacritic, sort of. I don't like aggregates. They make me cringe and twitch. Um, so yeah, I guess I have some criticisms of the way they were gonna go about base gamer, but I think it was a good idea. If you're gonna do an aggregate, I mean, you might as well not do it like a bunch of retards. So there was that. I think they overreached a little bit with it, but otherwise, it was a decent idea. Do you know what I
I
mean? But
Yeah. You
yeah.
pretty much summed up my thoughts on it, Socks. It's pretty much how I feel just about the aggregate itself. The Let's see. Someone said turn your mic up a little bit, Socks, if you can. Um, according to chat.
Yeah, I was further away from my mic. I apologize.
Okay.
Is that
And
better?
that's kind of yeah, that's sounds good to me. It's kind of my feeling on it as well. But I'm also to the idea that I don't want to come out and I don't want it to like just crap all over something just because I don't like it. Because we're supposed to be the consumer revolt of new ideas, and when you get to the point where people are, shooting them down, before they even have a chance to get going, then how are do we become better than the opposition? You know, so my thing is if she gets the money for base gamer and she launches the site, then more power to her. I hope it works out for her because it is I like the idea behind it. I think it'll work? I can't say. Yeah. So that's kind of my feeling on it. If I'm going to have any feeling on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Chat was saying, like a lot of people uh, who are pushing against the scandal that is Gamergate. We don't like um, numerical review scores. A lot of us see that as a problem, which is, absolutely true. It is a
Yes,
problem.
very fair,
But a
very
lot of
fair.
people do like review scores because, and I
But
understand why. I
no,
understand
I
why.
I don't. I think it's that they don't think there's an alternative to it.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. I think it's a lack of there being alternatives to those scores. Having worked gaming retail at an indie store, and I'm sure that Optimus could talk about this coming from a not indie store, and we're not going to plug that place. Um, but working in an indie store and having people plunk down that gaming store other places catalog in front of me and say, well, this got this score. um, that score is based off people who haven't even touched the game. So not having an alternative to a number on a page, I always would tell those people, you know what, go to YouTube, look at Let's Plays, actually like think about the content you're about to
Yes.
consume. Don't just
Thank
look
you.
at a number.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
that's.
I.
Mm,
Okay, go ahead.
go, no, you.
You can go right after.
Mm-mm, I'm done. Next, go.
Oh, okay. I Let's plays are. I never went to any games journalist outlets. Maybe once or twice Rock Paper Shotgun, but that was entirely because there would maybe be an article
An
about
editorial.
a Paradox interactive game from Rock Paper Shotgun that appeared on the Steam page of that game when I'm playing it. So I would never go there for reviews ever, 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 ever. Usually Steam reviews I would barely trust. Even then, the number's a little more accurate because it's out of 100 rather than 10. So you get a better rounded number, and it's usually based by users than anything else. And you can see how
Yeah.
much each reviewer has played in the game, so you can weigh those effectively. It's a much more accurate system of having an aggregate score. Um, Now, the reason I turn to Let's Plays, and these are for games that are, for the most part, already out. I don't turn to Let's Plays for opinions on games that are up and coming. Uh, but the games that are already out is because I get to see what the game is like from someone who's purchased it and likes it. But B, I get to see what kind of crazy shit you can do in it. There's there's a reason I like certain games like Paradox Interactive games because you can do anything, anything you want in them, really. There's so many crazy things that players can get up to. So it's really cool to see them try and bend the rules of the game and push it to its limits in that form. And that's where I figure out if this is something I want to play. That's how I've always done it. I guess what? While there are some Let's Players who are incentivized, those are usually for newer content. But the ones who do games that have been out for months and play them steadily, they play them because they like them. And those are the ones I will trust. I'm going to shill a couple of them, in fact. Uh, Northern Lion is one who I really like. Arumba is another. Quill 18 is a good one. Mathis Games is a good too. They they put time into these things. They play series in games for years and years. And this is why I really like them because I don't I don't pay attention to their new shit. Yes, Aldershot, NL Hype. I don't pay attention to their up and coming cases or their early access ones. And they tell you after a game's out if they play it and they're like, "Hey, so I played this. I'm not really feeling it. It's not really my thing. I was a little disappointed. It's not too bad. I actually saw Northern Lions kind of review video of Watch Dogs, and I thought, huh, okay, that's actually helpful because it's good. TB's of course another one. TB is much more one people. Total Biscuit's one. Yeah, Total Biscuit, not tuberculosis, is one we actually trust for for reviews and critiques because he's earned it. He's earned our respect, to be frank. Um,
Yeah, he's
and
very
what's
much a
funny is
consumer
none of these
advocate.
other journalists have, except
Yeah.
maybe Eric Kane. Eric Kane's are respectable, I
Well,
think, but
and I think that there's
everyone else.
YouTubers who have stayed out of the current situation. Well, for the most part, a couple have had guests that have sort of brought it up in things, but I mean I love Cryotic. I mean he is one of my favorite people to watch play. And my daughter actually got me to start watching him as well as Markiplier. I like watching them play games. I feel like their reactions are really genuine, and their interaction with their viewers is just really genuine and really sweet, and I really appreciate it. Cry gets a lot of crap because he does do trigger warnings at this point, which made my 14-year-old somewhat livid with him. But he tries really hard to be good to everybody, which is not necessarily always possible on the internet. Um, but yeah, there's people who I don't think I've ever heard either one of them make an overtly political statement, but they still make good content and still I think play games that they genuinely care about and are excited about, which is what I'm most looking for when I watch a Let's Play. Did I kill everybody? I'm so sorry.
I'm
No,
dead.
no.
Rem, you killed me.
I'm
Well, we are
sorry.
the dead gamers talking, so
Yeah, rest point.
Yeah.
as is to be
Master S.
expected. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll get on the priest. I'll help.
But and then beyond that there are blogs, and I think that that is still a respectable thing to write and to do when it comes to games. I mean, nothing that I ever write about a video game I think could be taken as serious gaming journalism, just because I'm not trained. I don't know enough about the concepts or anything else to do it, but I can write my feelings. And um, we do have people like William Usher, fangirl moment, um, who is very good at differentiating between this is a press piece and this is a blog piece. That's really important to be able to differentiate between.
Yep.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yep. And see, I would, to give an example, something. If you ever want a good example of Total Biscuit giving a recommendation, uh, go check out his Legend of Korra video when it came out, um, where he basically spells out that this is a platinum light game. Even though it's a platinum game, it's very light. It's not. It's
It
not gonna.
is.
It's not Bayonetta. You're not gonna get that kind of action, but it's a good game.
Yeah.
And he's basically saying, it has the same failings that any other platinum game has. Platforming is not that great, you know, and things like that. But as far as the action game, and at the end he'll say something like, do I recommend this? He goes, well, and when he does that, well, that means you're about to get his example. He basically gonna say if you like platinum games, you're probably gonna like Legend of Korra. And if you can't afford and he said it straight up, which is kind of where I fell on it. If you can't afford Bayonetta right now, then Legend of Korra is a nice light alternative. You know.
I would agree with
So
him on that.
yeah,
And but that's a really great example. Be honest about it. I mean, the Legend of Korra game, it did feel like it was made by the Platinum Games beta team. Um,
yeah,
does that make sense? It wasn't
yeah.
made
It
by the
does.
A team. It was
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
made by the beta team. Like
Basically,
but
we've helped. We've helped enough with with Bayonetta and stuff, so we know what to do. We
yeah,
just
we kind of know what we're doing. It's
yeah,
alright. Yeah,
yeah,
my criticism a lot would actually be kind of like the story and the
yeah.
art itself of the game, which was a little bit flat. But anyway, we're not doing our Legend of Korra review at the moment. Um, so, but
And
yeah,
we
that's what
actually
you brought up.
have do we want to move on to the other stuff that we had listed, or do we want to
I would
cuz
say let's talk about the Polygon Nintendo thing.
okay, so
Yeah, because
examples
Yeah,
of really
let's do that.
stupid press, we have Polygon as always. Um, I will put a link
Accurate.
out because I refuse to link to them. I have archived. But they had a piece come out, which is their Nintendo 2014 year in review, basically saying that this year, after pooping on Nintendo all year long, they're like, actually, this was the year of Nintendo. We're so sorry. We were dumb. But without saying that, they just pretended they didn't say stupid things all year long. And I guess you guys said that they actually took down. I don't read Polygon, so I mean, even when people archive it, I can't. My brain won't let me. Um, But you guys were saying they actually took down their previous pieces? Is
They
that
took down a piece that was referencing Mario Kart 8, where they said it would be the weakest selling version of Mario Kart on any Nintendo console. And as the months went on, they were posting like the numbers each month. It's like it has sold X amount of copies, and they would always reference back to that article saying, "But it still will not surpass blah blah blah. It'll still be the weakest." And then the next month, it like when it surpassed 2 million, it's like, well, blah blah blah. It's not gonna. It's still got it's doing great, but it's still gonna be the worst. And then in December, they just took that article down altogether. So
now,
I
the
have never.
one thing I will say is that this piece that we are quoting right now, the 2014 in review, the year that sucked for everyone but Nintendo, in very big letters at the top it says opinion, and it says opinion by. So I think that's quite cute. Um, but it, yeah, it's completely um, it's completely a ridiculous piece. It starts out with, if I had to throw my stones on one side of the pond, I'd be inclined to agree with some of my colleagues. 2014 was a real armpit of a year, in which she links to another opinion piece that 2014 in review, the year that sucked. Now, there were plenty of games that all of us were excited about, so I'm not sure what games he was playing, but I will link you guys the archive of it. I will also, when this is on the YouTubes, make sure that it is available there as well, because again, don't click on Polygon. Um, but it just seems a bit silly to. I can't even wrap my mind around it. Like, how is this
In a,
journalism?
in a year when things like Shadow of Mordor, Bayonetta 2, you know, and I'm trying to think of some other earlier examples during the year because that's the working retail like I did, and I still get fall into the trap. You kind of forget what came out in previous months and focus on what came out in the last two because that's where the money is made, quote unquote. But I mean, there was a lot of good games that came out this year, so I'm kind of trying to figure out where they're getting that thing from. I mean, we don't even have sales numbers yet. That's your indicator. So that's why I don't quite understand where they're saying this year sucked. But like it's December 31st, we won't get a financial report until the middle of January for what sales were happened and whatnot.
Well,
So
and this article, so I'm now reading the Armpit of the Year article, which is by a gentleman I have not argued with on Twitter, who has a last name that I cannot pronounce, but I have just linked to you guys who can help me with vowels.
Michael McWhorter.
Is that how you say that? Okay.
hmm He used to
Um,
be he used to be on Kotaku actually. It's funny how a lot of these. It's kind of like we were discussing earlier how these people just kind of bounce to different places and basically do the same shit. Anyway,
but he starts off with games were broken. When 2014 kicked off, millions of players were still dealing with broken game hangover. The notoriously, so he's already referencing 2013 games, which what this is a review for 2014. He then goes into talking about um, the Halo Master Chief Collection. I feel like shots fired with the people that are currently in this call. Um,
What? You
um,
dare?
um, and I think everybody agrees Assassin's Creed Unity was an absolute nightmare. But think of the press that was about it prior to it coming out. Like, this is something that could have been prevented, but instead it wasn't. It was pushed and rushed, and this is what happens. And this press has been complicit in the pushing and the rushing of games, and developers not being given the time to really create and test and properly produce a product for us. So having him, you know, or anybody come in and say that. And then after talking about broken games, the next topic he has as a bullet point is too many delays, too many remasters. Um, I, for one, am super okay if a company comes out and says, hey, guess what? We're not ready. We want to give you a complete and solid product. Please take your time. I'm about to blow half of a paycheck because I work retail and make minimum wage on this product. Make me a good product. I don't see delays as necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you guys might disagree, but I don't see that as a bad
no,
thing.
no. If you got to delay it, okay. Let's game that's going to be near and dear to my heart is always going to be the Street Fighter series. I've said this 1,000 times. If Street Fighter V has to be delayed so it's good and functional and doesn't glitch out to high heaven, please delay it. I want a good game. I don't want a broken game. Right?
Mhm.
Fully
Yep.
agreed.
Well, I was actually watching, and I agree with that depending on the game. Because I was actually watching a YouTuber known as Azimuth, and he's a Warcraft player. He does Warcraft stuff.
Mhm.
Because I was actually Googling Gamergate and I found him, and then I was like, oh, he also does a lot of Warcraft stuff. Cool. And he was talking about the Warlords of Draenor expansion and the problems it had at launch, and he basically said, you know what, I actually like Blizzard, and he's glad that they launched it when they did, because he wants a company that, or sorry, I might be misunderstanding. Might not be that launched when they did. Well, he likes that came out early, and he knows Blizzard because he knows Blizzard will sit down and they know and won't say, "Oh, hey, we're giving you a completed game." Uh, Unlike a lot of these other companies, they will sit down and they will work on it and polish it and balance it and make it better consistently because that's what World of Warcraft is. It's a constant state of polish and fixing, and that's fine. That fits that game perfectly. But it's these titles that are supposed to be completely finished and completely bug tested games where they come out and it's supposed to be perfect. It's supposed to run
Yeah.
smoothly, and then maybe you release a patch for a small minority of users having problems. That's what it's supposed to be. Not this. Oh my God, no one has a face in these fucking games. We fucked up big time. None of that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's throw back to when Skyrim launched on the PlayStation 3. And I bought that fucking game on the PlayStation
Get
3 because
Skyrim
at the time,
PC scrubs.
yeah, I didn't have a computer that would run it at the time,
Okay.
because I'm poor, so I was playing it on my brother's PlayStation because he had a job, so he had stuff. Anyway, and I was playing Skyrim, and as soon as you got to a point where you had X many properties or X many things in your house, the game would freak the fuck out.
Mm.
And dragons would be inside out, they would be flying backwards and upside down. You couldn't load into certain towns. God help you if you tried to mount up. Uh, it was just it was a clusterfuck. And they didn't fix it for like, what was it, almost 2 years. They
It's
didn't
amazing.
fix it, and they didn't give us the DLC because it was too hard.
It's amazing.
It's I have to, speaking of that, it kind of throws me to I was and another YouTuber if you guys want to check out, especially for um fighting game stuff, Maximilian Dude, check him out, he's good. He was talking about the new Mortal Kombat that's coming out, and they were talking about the new character. Spoiler alert, it's Kung Lao. Uh, and and the thing that he discussed was how they're going to be using a patching system, um, that is not exactly, where you need um, a big patch where it'll do an incremental patch where you don't doesn't need to go through approval and all this other stuff. So excuse me. So it's kind of like, that's why I like the idea that if you're going to have this big game and you're going to ship a product like that, then you need to have it where it's a situation where you got to have that uh, incremental patching where you can fix these issues and not have to wait for a huge patch 2 months later. You know.
So this article continues and it talks about us.
Mhm.
Um, it talks on, well, first off, I have to say that I find this writer to be absolutely abysmal, and it is now my goal to fight with him on Twitter because anybody who wants the next piece that he talks about is the ones we've lost. The video game industry lost too many creators, entertainers, and trailblazers this year. He gives them one full paragraph and then two tiny micro paragraphs. Uh, don't write about people's deaths that you're not connected with. It's tacky and it's silly and I don't like it. The next part and the section that has the most content, quote unquote, to it is a banner year for hatred. So the reason that 2014 sucked for everyone except for Nintendo is consumers. Um,
Oh, thanks.
so
Hold on. So Polygon's shitting on me once again. Thanks,
So, a
Polygon.
banner
You
year for
really know how to
hatred.
fix
Yes.
bad wounds. Very
He
good at that.
mentions we have a wonderful cast of characters that we all know and love in this. People that are not actually gamers, but are people who criticize quote unquote gamers and who have told us that we are dead. Um, our and our pushback against them is why this is a banner year for hatred in the gaming community. Let's not think about the fact that we talked earlier this evening about what a diverse group of people we have in the gaming community. Also, every person who's told me to step up and shout down every person in the Gamergate hashtag for using the term anti gamer, I would really love you to read this Polygon piece and tell me how I am a self identifying gamer, according to Polygon. I am not actually a gamer. Um, yeah. So, Polygon, thanks, guys. Beautiful opinion piece. We love you so much. But yeah, it goes on and on and on and on. And then finally, the final section is other things that sucked. But he quotes Brianna Wu and links to pieces by her, Jen Frank, Lee Alexander, Anita Sarkeesian. This is Polygon's year of 2014. It doesn't have to do about the games. Those few paragraphs at the beginning, that was fluff. It's really about women who, don't want to be part of the industry, really. Who knew? Socks, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're harassed every day.
Well, she's not aware of this because her call dropped again.
Oh no, well, I will speak for. I am going to be a
Remy,
total shitlord and speak
I
for
will
her.
harass you every day.
Aw. Um, Tupperware. Okay. So, but yeah, like and I've often said, like, about all of this, and it completely baffles me when men, and this is a piece written by men, focus for, let's see here, 7 paragraphs about the harassment I face as a woman. It's a bit baffling to me. Um, when content about games, 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, maybe most of that's his opinion. Um, yeah, it's really sad. That's like half this article is about the harassment in the industry when it's coming from consumers pushing back against journalists. Um, I don't know why I thought I would, see any different from Polygon, but and this started out being about their flip-flop on Nintendo and deleting prior content, which is stupid, but this is just like some icing on the stupid cake. Oh, Polygon. How do you do this?
It's it's like they think they're in Huxley, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and that they're the content that can be made that we just consume and we don't think about. No, Polygon. No, 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 no. You messed with the wrong. You're in the wrong industry if you think that's what we are. You picked the wrong group of people to be writing for. I'm sorry. You want an audience that listens to you and doesn't question your stuff? Go somewhere else. There's lots of people, lots and lots and lots of people. I hear Scientology is very accepting of those types of writers. Try there.
Oh, and this is
Uh,
so
we and
self-masturbatory
gamers,
too.
we and gamers do not. We are individuals. We think for ourselves. We're the reason we're attracted to games is for story and lots of other features, gameplay, fun factor is big, but we want it to mean something for us. We're there for the experience. Uh, if what you're telling us the experience is doesn't match what the majority of our experience has been, you are wrong. Okay? Deal with it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, personally, I was disappointed in the slowness in which the video game industry and the media, including Polygon, responded to the harassment of others. We spoke out, eloquently, I think, but perhaps too late.
Bull.
I
You
made
didn't.
personal efforts to support friends, colleagues, and creators, but it wasn't and will never be enough. One of the most frustrating aspects of this harassment, the unorganized force that rallies behind the Gamergate hashtag and populates message boards dedicated to keeping the movement alive, is its unlargely recognized initial victory. The catalyst of the movement and ensuing harassment, accusations of impropriety and lack of disclosure, was pretty quickly addressed. Now, maybe I'm confused and have spent too much time on the internet, but can we talk about what quickly addressing something is?
Yeah, Polygon quickly addressing something is responding within hours and responding appropriately, not responding 2 weeks later with a very crappy ethics policy.
You notice I didn't include them when I was mentioning ethics policies because it wasn't an ethics policy.
Yep, IGN responded properly.
Yeah.
IGN created a comprehensive ethics policy. And guess what? Before then, everybody hated IGN. We
Yeah.
all hated it. It was the CNN of the games media. It
I
was the
said it.
company that was bland and boring and by far the most bought off.
Yep.
Now, it's one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Look what happened, Polygon, when you failed at being journalists.
Yeah.
Well, and then he goes on, and let's talk about the propping up other media and not actually having form of competition. Not only was Polygon quick to address these, but so was Kotaku and others. So note, Kotaku, Polygon. He doesn't even mention the escapist, who actually did the appropriate thing.
Well,
That's
what was
cute.
that? That was McWhorter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember what I said? He worked for. This is see those two sites. They might as well be the same site. It might as well be called Polytaku because they're basically the same thing. You know, because they just like Brian Crescenti went and founded Polygon after he left Kotaku, and then he just brought in people from Kotaku. So, like I said, it's just basically they should just call it Polytaku and be one site. So, yeah.
Oh, and he goes on to say, when concerns over personal relationships and conflicts of interest were raised, editors in chief reviewed their editorial policies. Some enacted new policies in the interest of disclosure. Polygon updated its ethics statement. Cute.
Statement.
Outlets were forced to
Policy
recognize
statement.
potential editorial problems and reacted publicly. Um,
Yeah, he
Okay.
did.
And it was the right move. But the movement, now just self described, so we're self identifying gamers and we're self described as a consumer revolt, in quotes, is now instead widely known for its toxic, abusive behavior and relentless harassment of women. Well, gosh darn it, you guys. Stop being so nice to me. Obviously, you're supposed to be
Fine.
attacking and belittling
Hold on.
me.
So can I just say I love that the 5 or 6 women they know are therefore a relentless attack against all women. No, no, we are upset with those people because they are scummy and shitty people, not because they're women. Their
But,
gender is entirely irrelevant to our
and
perception.
that's like we were talking about STEM,
That's why we
and
don't like you, Ben Kuchera.
Yeah, and nobody talks about that. It's sort of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe there's
Should.
stuff
Or
about Ben
or
that we don't
That's
know
why
because
we
we're
shit
not
on Ben's
industry
or
videos
insiders.
constantly.
or how
Or
much
Jonathan
we
McIntosh
oh,
constantly.
yeah, it's like how often do we shit on Joshington McIntosh? So I mean,
Yeah, yeah. My name's not Josh, hombre.
the name's not Josh. Now you're blocked.
But yeah, he
Yeah,
goes on to
hold
say,
on. Refresh my memory. When was the last time anyone really paid any attention to anything Zoe Quinn did or said, or Brianna Wu did or
Um.
said, or Anita Sarkeesian did or said?
Uh.
Now let's imagine
Yeah.
when we've paid attention to things Ben Kuchera and Jonathan McIntosh have done or said. I'm pretty sure the space between the times where we care about what the women do and the rest of them is growing.
Yeah. The
There's a
only time
long
that
time we did
the only
not give a
time that
shit
they
about
are well, the only time
and we
that those three are discussed is when they insert themselves back in the argument.
yep. And
Nine
notice
times.
Jen Frank left. How much harassment she get? Maybe some. I don't doubt it. There's probably one or two people actually sending mean things. They need to stop. That's wrong. But they're probably not watching this
but
podcast and listening.
also, the other thing is, though, is when one picks a fight on the internet, one should be able to stick it out.
Yep.
We were talking about earlier about having a thicker skin when you create content. Jen Frank is more than happy to go out and poke people with sticks. And I think that if you're going to go out and poke people with sticks, you need to be ready to be poked. If you're putting yourself out there, you need to be prepared for people and not just assume because you're a woman that they are going to have folks swoop in and defend you. I had situations on Twitter where I've become sort of frustrated with my friends. I love all of you, but I can handle my own. If somebody is being nasty to me on the internet, guess what? I am fully capable of fighting back on my own. I am not one of these weeping violets who needs someone else to step in. Jen Frank was very happy to shake hornets nests and put herself out there and then retreat and then go out and shake and retreat. And I have no respect for that whatsoever.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you know what?
I've used.
I will say this. I will say this. From what I remember, I admit I don't really follow her or tweet at her, so I don't know. I don't think Leigh Alexander has ever asked anyone to defend her. I
No,
think a
but
lot
there's
of
also
others have.
compliance in it. I will openly tell people, hey, I've got this, thanks. And is
Yes.
it Lay or Lee?
Lay.
And Lay? Okay.
I
I've always heard it as
I
Leigh
think she
Alexander.
calls herself Lee, but we just say Leigh because that's how it's spelled.
I've heard her say Leigh Alexander.
Oh, I thought she
Okay.
was Lee Alexander. So sorry if I've been saying your name wrong because I hate when people say my name wrong. But
Yeah, or Remi.
there's
Yeah.
there's a difference between um, asking for assistance and allowing to happen. I've never seen Jen call in White Knights and saying, "Hey, come defend me," but it still happens, and she still watches as it occurs and doesn't really put a stamp down on it. Um, and giggling along as others dogpile in to defend and things like that
Yes.
is things I've seen Lee do and or Lei
Okay.
do, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable with that sort of behavior. When it happens with me, I'm pretty quick to go, hey guys, I got this, thanks. And I'm not saying that I
It's
don't agree with the people defending me. I think it's great, but let me fight it out on my own and see how I end up.
there are situations where people get into, like you said, they go shake a hornet's nest, and y'all have heard you two especially have heard me say this a lot when they start hitting out of their weight class.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind it's kind of, we've seen that several times. It's like, we see I swore I wasn't going to say his name on the stream, but we see Chris Cluey. Hey,
Aww.
let me go attack Total Biscuit. Intellectually, buddy, that's a lightweight going up against God. Okay, that's not happening. So
Well, and the thing with poor deluded Chris is that his people don't even like him. Like,
yeah, I mean,
it's
I could guarantee you could go to any NFL locker room today. Well, the ones that are still playing, and ask them, "Hey, what do you think of Chris Cluey?" And 90% of them would say asshole.
well, I wasn't even
So
talking about them. I was talking about, the people that he gets
Social
on the
justice
internet to
warriors.
defend. They don't like him. He says bad things repeatedly and in public.
mhm.
And he doesn't seem to realize that the more he puts himself out there, the more people are going to realize that he is a very, very angry man who doesn't like or respect anyone and is just looking for people to listen to him talk.
Yeah, Wayne, most important thing, chat's pointed out they believe it's pronounced clue. I
No,
don't know
it
if
is
that's right or
Cluey.
wrong.
No, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. It
Okay,
is
because I was
Cluey.
gonna make a joke about Arthur Chewy. I just
You
think
know,
that would be funny. Arthur
no,
Yeah,
guys,
well, and Cracked
I've
just
heard of.
brought up like the thing is, and the way that I became most aware of Chris is the horrible jokes that he makes in the locker room. Now, obviously, there is locker room talk. As an American football fan, I am well aware of what goes on in locker rooms and things like that. But
It's a
there
giant
are
gay sex orgy, right?
there
I'm
Yes,
no.
yeah,
Canadian. I don't know.
There are
absolutely.
lines, and one of them is making jokes about child predators, especially when the scandal is still going on and it affects a large swath of the football community. And this man thought that it was acceptable to make jokes about these children that were preyed upon for a very, very long time. And football players don't like that. Social justice people don't like that. Humans with any sense of decency don't like that. And to protect himself from criticism for his completely tasteless behavior, he then decided to turn around and call people homophobic. So he was like, oh, they got rid of me because I support gay rights. No, honey, they got rid of you because you're scum.
hmm He always try. I noticed there's always like one particular coach he tries to blame it on. Like
Who
he's
wasn't
like,
even in the locker room when he made the bad behavior. That was the thing. Other players
yeah,
complained about him. Like when
yeah,
your
yeah.
teammates are like, wow, you suck, dude, go. And these are
This is
people who badmouth each other. They're much like gamers. Football players are like us. They like to smack talk. If you ever have the headset cams that you can listen to, listen, they talk like gamers. It's absolutely wonderful. It's why so many of them play Madden and racing games.
yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
these guys talk the same way that we do. When they say, yo, bud, you crossed a line and you don't apologize, yeah, they're going to want you gone. They're not going to want you around.
That's basically as I what is that term? the record scratch. It was like somebody says something totally inappropriate and the record scratch, and everybody just looks at him like, "What?" Kind of thing.
Hmm.
But it's he is he's one of those guys. I saw it. I could see it from the beginning, and he might, and I'm not, I'm not going to be one of the says you're not a gamer. I generally believe he is a gamer.
He plays a lot of WoW. He plays a lot of
Yeah,
WoW. He really
but I saw,
does.
yeah, but I saw
It's
that
not like
as
he's playing
I.
football.
Well, no, yeah. Well, he's definitely not playing football because no team wants him. But he, he, the thing is, it's like I saw it from the very beginning that he was pandering to a crowd because what he gets on Twitter and the first thing he changes it, instead of being Chris Cluey, his name. He said, "I'm Chris Warcraft because I'm a cool gamer dude," you know. And look at me, I do all this. I play games, and now Kotaku wants me to write articles for him. And then on the stream he was on the other day, so I could write for anybody anytime I want. I was like, yeah, you probably could write for these sites because the journalistic standards aren't that high anyway. So go right ahead. So yeah, it's he's a pandering douche. That's all he is, and he's utterly irrelevant.
And
And I
not a
don't,
very nice human
and he's not a
in
nice human being. Yes.
in the least. Do we still want to talk about Microsoft and price changes? We still have a little bit of time.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. By the way, I'll offer my apologies to Socks. Her internet took a dump, and she has to call her ISP. But she will be back next week with us because we're here every week, 9 to 11 on Thursday nights.
Or
Anyway.
9:10 to 9:30, depending on how derpy I am and trying to remember how to work OBS.
Yeah, we were ready 5 minutes after, and then Remy forgot how to things.
Remy does that. It's okay. I figured it out eventually. Just think, you guys, like you're here at the beginning, and like a year when we're super professional and polished, you can be like, I remember when, and
Yeah.
and be a total hipster about it. Um,
Because I know all of you gamers love being hipsters.
hey, I resemble those remarks in my skinny jeans that I am not currently wearing.
I'm not gonna make the joke.
Shh.
Shoot.
I
Oh yeah,
resemble I
let's
resembled remarks in skinny jeans that I'm not totally wearing before it was cool. So there.
yeah let's talk about the rollback price on the Xbox One.
Okay, so 2 month long Xbox One sale ends. Price jump will jump back to $400. Now, um, being that I work retail and am a single mom, I make no monies and don't have any current systems. So even with the rollback of 50 whole dollars, I was like, nope. But people seem to
they'll gravitate to it. I mean, that was kind of the point of the sale, I would think.
did people expect it to last longer? I thought that it was known that it was a temporary price cut for the
Well,
holiday season.
see, that's the thing. I think a lot of people didn't think it would roll up back up because it's never happened before. Not when the manufacturer issues a price cut. You know,
Mm.
that is the big difference. It's like if a individual retailer says we're gonna take $50 off the price, or gonna offer a gift card. Which, by the way, I know a few retailers during this time were offering $50 retail. So essentially, and they always say, well, that means you're only getting it for 300. No, you're giving them a $50 gift card they can use at a later time. You can't use it at the same purchase because that's just how retail works. But yeah, that's kind of the thing. The manufacturer issued the price drop, and now they're going to roll it back. And I can't think and I did a lot of retail. In the retail store that I worked in, I started the first time. I went a few times with them because I was always getting terms. I would always go get another job, and I would come back and work part time. Or at one point, I was a manager and things like that.
Once they suck you into hell, you cannot escape.
Well, they, well, I got out, but but essentially from
Yeah, but you had
1990,
to throw 6 children in the pit first.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But from 1999 to 2011, I was pretty much into the retail thing and knew a lot about it and stuff. So I saw a few generations come and go. And like I said, for the life of me, I do not remember a manufacturer issuing a price drop and then rolling it back. So I don't know. That what are your thoughts on it?
Well, and this was the first time that the Xbox One has outsold the PS4. Now, I'll be honest, I love Xbox, and I know that that's not necessarily the cool thing to say, but I do. I love my 360, and um, it's just what I'm comfortable with. I like the controller. It feels comfortable in my hand, even though it's oppressing me as a woman and is supposed to confuse me or whatever else. It's I love my 360 and the
Remy didn't mean that. She didn't know, doesn't know what she's saying. It's silly. I
um,
know what you're saying.
but with the PS4, I mean, there are games available via PlayStation that are not available via the Xbox, and that is the one thing that has made me consider the PS4, and I see why people like it. Um, Honestly, at this point for me, I'm a PC gamer. Like I can't afford to keep up with console anymore. I have my classic consoles. I happily play my Sega Genesis and my N64 and they make me super happy. And someday I will hopefully into Wii U because I want to touch things. But um until my living situation changes a whole ton, I'm totally a PC gamer, and that's just kind of what it's got to be. So these battles for a system that cost as much as an Intu laptop, like I don't get it. Like a brand new little bitty low power laptop or something that I can play video games on and maybe accidentally Skype call grandma while I'm doing dirty things doesn't seem like a good idea.
Hmm.
Have they even
Interesting.
fixed that, by the way, with the accidentally doing Skype calls when you don't mean to? With the new systems? I know that with Xbox that was a bit of a concern for a while.
I think so, because a mutual friend of ours is on Skype calls all the time on his Xbox, and he doesn't seem to say anything about that.
Okay.
So,
I shall inquire because yeah, I know that when it was first when we were worried about retailing it, with the Connect always being on, people were concerned about showing things that they weren't necessarily going to mean to show. Um,
yeah.
no, I'm not working for an associate's degree right now. I don't know. Sorry, somebody asked a question, but
Yep.
yeah, so that's, you know, that's the price is going to go back up. I think that PS4 is going to continue to outsell it just because they have more content. I mean, they have more games offered that are exclusives that people are excited about, and that is what it is.
Well, it's my,
Mhm.
my that's kind of my personal feeling. I mean, I'm one of those. I'm a completionist. I like to own everything. But it's a little bit harder when you don't have money. So it's kind of like, I'm at the point now in my life where you gotta kind of pick and choose, uh, one thing or another. So, you know,
And that's
my
hard. Like I hate that. Like I own, if you guys saw like my console collection, it's freaking ridiculous. And I have always been a fairly proud console pleb. Like it's
mhm.
what I did. But in the last year, it's I cannot keep up with the cost of playing console games and owning consoles. And it stinks a bit. I wish that I could. But PC's just where it's at, unfortunately.
Like in my when I was making, decent money. I was like, okay, I got my PS3, I got my Xbox 360, I got my Wii U, and I had, like previous generation consoles. I had to make sure that the PC was always at its best. I was like changing out the graphics card every year because I'm that OCD, and stuff like that. So, like being poor has really wrecked my OCD because I can't have the best stuff anymore. So,
Oh, so Rice said Connect is not always on anymore. So that's an improvement. Good
well, and
stuff.
also you can just not get the Connect too. So.
Yeah, because when it was first rolling out, it's been a minute since I was doing game retail. So, uh,
It's pretty hilarious because I kept saying the whole time when it's like it's gonna have on Connect and it's gonna always have it. Microsoft saying it's always gonna have it. It's not gonna we're never not gonna have the Connect with it. And I said give it 6 months. 6 months later, we're gonna get rid of the Connect.
but yeah, keeping up on
Yes.
what's going on with consoles is a bit sad for me, just because I can't touch them. So therefore, I don't want to research them and know too much because I'm like, Ah.
I'm kind of the same way, and that's why I'm glad I have like somebody like Fear who has an Xbox One, so he's more inclined to keep up with stuff like that and
Yes.
whatnot.
I can say I like my Xbox One. I'm glad I got it when it was a little cheaper, which is good.
Mhm.
It's a fun console. It's a lot of fun to play. Um, I'm looking forward to the games explosion that will be coming in the coming years because it's usually what happens. But honestly, I am genuinely speaking a diehard PC gamer for the most part. I've PC was my first gaming platform as a kid. I still remember playing Star Wars Rebel Assault on with an old joystick and being very frustrated because it was one of those games where you have to not hit walls or you break your ship. Um, I remember all the RTSs I used to play. I remember the original Command and Conquer, which is still a legendary game, great game. Um, and it's just amazing. Uh, so no, I will always be a diehard PC lover. PC first and foremost. It's nice having a console sometimes too. Anyway,
Yep, I'm an options guy. You know, like I said, OCD tells me I must have everything, or I am a pleb. So, so yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it. Got that. Oh, gold bet, gold bet, gold bet. That is a whole other podcast. I could talk about pre-owned all day and tell you how much it disgusts me. Anyway,
hmm
I,
And then we could talk about publishers and why the exorbitant cost for things that are rushed and not well made. We can use that as a future topic. I think that that would be a good one because I have
so
feels.
thanks, guys. You're helping us with next week's topic, so we can learn about
um,
well, that's the well. My work is done. Good job, chat. You did my job.
so I know that Optimus was saying that we only had so much amount of time left, but he did forget that we did start
Yeah,
10
yeah, yeah,
minutes
yeah.
late.
I'm
So
well. I didn't say we were running out of time, but you know we can talk. Go on to something else. It's fine.
We got 10. We've been live for an hour 50. We
yes,
got
we
15
have,
minutes.
and you people have been here with us, and we appreciate you all greatly.
Yeah, pretty much the whole time. We've been around a steady 20 to 23 the whole time. It's
Yeah,
pretty
and
great.
it's mostly the same folks too, so they have serious staying power. Go you
Mm.
guys.
But
Um,
No, they have
remember,
serious taste, Remy.
yes.
oh, I
Yes, taste.
see.
And by the way, next time, bring a friend so we can double that number. Um,
Do that. Yeah, please.
It can be like
That'd be
date
good.
night. We'll make spaghetti. Um,
Yeah, I love
lots of
spaghetti.
options. Yes.
Remy makes the best spaghetti.
oh God. um, now that I'm embarrassed in like bright pink, um, do we have anything else that we would like to discuss for?
You got. It seems like you have a friend in chat who wants you to shill something for him.
I don't chill because people get mad at me after I do that, though.
Uh,
Yeah, guys, I'll just be completely honest. After the week that I have had on Twitter, and this is for people that comment on YouTube or anywhere else, you really don't want me to be the person promoting anything you do, because people don't like me when I do that, and I don't want that to fall back on anybody else.
Hold on, I gotta jump in. Rotten says, "Sorry, Nick. I'm just here for Remy." Remy, that's a very strange way of spelling fewer. I've not seen that one before. I. It must be some sort of strange foreign dialect, I guess. Huh. Interesting. Interesting stuff.
Remy
Um,
is Swahili for fear.
yeah, there we go. Rotten, I didn't know you were Swahili. Oh,
I
you don't
I
tell
know
me these things, my friend.
I'm a worldly person. I know a lot of things.
Yeah. Optimus is very worldly. It's nice. All right.
Yep.
So, uh, wrapping up.
Yeah, I guess so. Guys, remember, somebody should go over Sox's information real quick on where to follow her and all of those tasty, delicious details.
All right, my good friend Socks, the Australian with a very saucy mouth, which is awesome and just a really cool personality overall, is at Renaxis, as you can see on the picture of the video itself. She's a very nice person, and well, when she's not being mean. And yeah, you should all follow her. It'll
And
be a
follow her
great.
on YouTube at Neat Life.
Yes.
That's her YouTube channel. Yep.
And I will post all of this on the YouTubes when I upload this. I, of course, am Remy Punks with an X, not any other alternative spellings because awkward. You can find me everywhere at that. Primarily, I am here on Hitbox. I am going to be streaming I don't know because I accidentally invited Sargon to stream with me next time I stream, so that could be really
It's a
embarrassing for.
happy accident, though. Happy
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's happy for him. Um, but
accident.
that's a thing. If it is not with Sargon, I am going to be playing Skullgirls with the lovely Optimus soon. So that will be a thing for you guys to watch. Yes, Goldbat, I like Sargon as well, and that is why I am super embarrassed because I was trying to get people to donate to charity. Oh, guys, you should donate to Make a Wish. Um,
And tomorrow, the porn charity.
I don't know about the porn charity, but I will put up links for all of the wonderful charities and things that even though we are not a Gamergate stream, we are aware of where we came from. So there's good stuff going on there.
Knowledge of us.
I am not a challenge, by the way, even slightly in any kind of fighting games. I suck. I'm a pleb. Nope, nope, nope. I'm not good. Anyway, fewer.
That's what somebody who's good usually says. Oh, I'm no good, and then wrecks everything.
I love doing it sometimes. What? Me?
Tell,
Yes.
where do we stalk you? I mean, follow you.
You may stalk me at your leisure on Twitter. The handle is at fewer Freyut, as you can see from the lovely picture. Yes, I am really a cat in a nice hat. It is true. Not always the monocle. And currently, I has a wonderful internet aristocrat wig on. Although I'm considering taking it off because that guy is shit. Apparently,
See, on
What's going
Twitter,
on?
I am my legs. So there is that. My Twitter picture is the best. Um, I
Guess it's my turn.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
oh, you can. Sorry, I just gotta quickly jump in.
Go ahead.
Steam, you can add me. I think it's fewer. Let me see.
Please don't
Oh
add
yeah.
me on Steam.
Sure, free. Also on Steam. So if you want to add me, you can do that too. Sorry. Okay. Go away.
So I am, of course, at Optimus Deadpool on Twitter. If there ever is a day where you don't see me with a Optimus Prime avatar of some kind, I am sick or dead. Um, so there will always that will always be there. And like I said, you can follow my YouTube channel. Also, Optimus Deadpool. It's not a lot on there right now. It's like two videos. One was a joke video for a friend, and the other one was, that John Cena is the leader of Gamergate that we all know. Uh, but uh, but yeah, like I said, there will be content coming soon and all that good stuff. And I guess if you want to add me on Steam, that's fine. I am Optimus Supreme on Steam. It's capital O, capital S on Supreme. So yeah, people think I'm a burrito. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Well, thank
He's
you.
a very tasty burrito. It happens.
Yes, yes.
Thank everybody for watching. We greatly appreciate you guys. Again, we will be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Um, if you have any questions, suggestions, or anything else, you can always follow us on the Twitter. We are, I just totally forgot our Twitter handle, so un poquito. Um, It is Dead Gamers Talk. Um, you can tweet us there, tweet us on our personal accounts, whatever is easiest for you, or leave comments on my YouTube under the video saying, "Hey guys, this discussion totally sucked. Don't ever talk about that
Hmm.
again." We may listen to you, maybe. Um,
Yep, maybe.
and I think that is everything. So I love you guys. Have an excellent weekend, and we'll see you in a week.
See you guys.
Cheers.